how much did our conversion cost and how long did it take? Keep on watching. I'm going to tell you all about the nitty-gritty details for our conversion process. So this is one of the most frequently asked questions, is how much did it cost? And I understand people feel uncomfortable asking like money questions like that, but it's totally fine. It's not a big deal. So we bought the school bus for $3,000 at auction, and that's with all of the taxes and everything included. Now, for us, because we bought from our local school district, we didn't have to pay to have it towed or anything like that. We just drove it right off the lot into my mom's house, which was 10 minutes away. So going into more of the cost stuff, there are a couple of big things to keep in mind for our situation personally, which is that we had a place to store the bus for free for the entire duration of the conversion. My mom owns a lot of property, and it is zoned agricultural, so we could do pretty much anything we wanted, and she was totally fine with having an old school bus hanging out in her yard for months and months and months, which was awesome and definitely helpful. The other part of that is that we have a lot of really handy family members or that are doing their own renovations, have done renovations, or that are in the construction industry. So we were able to borrow a lot of the big tools and stuff that we would need. We borrowed tools from my dad, and we borrowed a lot of tools from my mom's boyfriend, who's a carpenter. And along with that, we got tons of advice and troubleshooting from the two of them as well. So my mom's boyfriend was really great at giving us really helpful hints on why things were going to work or if they weren't going to work, and why and what we could do better, and things to keep in mind since he's pretty much done variations of everything that we were trying to do at some point or another. So that was really, really helpful and really helped save us a lot for the conversion itself. So we bought the bus for $3,000, and I think total we haven't done a final tally of everything that we've spent, but we spent about $5,000 on the conversion itself. We did pretty much everything ourselves. Some of the stuff we thrifted or salvaged as much as we could, and the rest of it we built. We did all of the walls, we did the shower, the bathroom, I mean everything we pretty much built ourselves. There's a really big notable exception, and that is our kitchen countertop right here. I really, really wanted a butcher block countertop, and so I hunted and I hunted to find the cheapest one. And finally, we got a really nice one, actually, from IKEA. It's solid wood, it's super durable, it's great, but that was about $200 or $250. So I think that actually might have been the single most expensive item that we put into the bus. Our base, the kitchen counters on the bottom, like the kitchen cabinets on the bottom, those we got from the Habitat for Humanity Restore. We actually got a lot of stuff from there, bits and pieces. It's a great place to check out if you're near one. Tons of cool stuff. So we did that, and we really could have kept it cheaper if we had sort of not done certain things like the countertop and the cabinets, and if we had really just sort of hand built everything. But part of what Mike and I struggled with our conversion was his desire for frugality and functionality, and my desire for functionality and style. And so everything that we did was sort of a marriage between the two, and a compromise between making it look nice, keeping it cheap, and keeping it functional. So that's kind of where we were coming from with it. We could have easily gone above the $5,000 that we did spend. If I had gotten everything that I wanted, and we had hired out for the things that I wanted to hire out for, we would have skyrocketed that budget. But as it stands, $5,000 is about what we've spent. Also, keeping in mind, there are a couple big systems left that we haven't done. We don't have any tanks, so we have to be hooked up in order to use our water. So we don't have fresh water, we don't have gray water. We did have a composting toilet. There is a whole situation with that, but we don't have black water, and we will never have to worry about black water tanks. But gray water and fresh water, we don't have. Part of that was that we don't know how to weld. We don't know anyone that does weld. We don't have welding machines, and we don't know anyone that does have welding machines. And I wasn't sure how else to attach the tanks to the bottom of the bus where it would be strong enough to withstand, driving and going over bumps and stuff like that. I'm sure there is another way, and we're still looking into it. Maybe we'll eventually figure it out and get them done. But tanks themselves are actually quite pricey, so depending on the size of the tank that we decide to go for, and if we do end up having to pay someone to come out and weld it, or we have to buy a welder or whatever, we're looking at maybe around $1,000 for that that whole shebang. So you know, with taxes and all of that kind of stuff. Maybe we can keep it cheaper. That would be great. We're really trying to salvage some tanks if we can find like old RVs and junkyards and stuff like that. And then we would love to just strip the tanks out, you know, bleach them down, really clean them, and then use those. That would be awesome. But we'll see. Eventually we'll get there. Right now we're not doing any boondocking or free camping, so it's not really a big deal for us to not have tanks, because we're in the middle of a town, so we've got to be pretty much here. There isn't really anywhere for us to free camp, so we're at a campground right now. So, or we were at my mom's house and we were hooked up there. And then the other thing that we really want to do is solar. Eventually we'll do solar all up on the roof of the bus to power everything, and that's probably going to be another like $2,000 when we finally get there. But that'll be awesome whenever we do. So those are the two like really big things left that we haven't done that we need to do. So keeping that in mind, we're probably looking at a final total of maybe like 11-ish. And then if we do any other projects in the bus, maybe 12 total for the entire thing, which is still a pretty good price comparatively to buying an RV, or buying an old used RV and then renovating it. It would still, I think, end up being more than what we've spent, or what we will spend on it. So that's kind of the nitty gritty on the pricing. So for how long it took, that ended up being sort of a situation by itself. We bought the bus in February, mid to late February, and we really started working on it in March. That's when we started doing all of the demo. And we pulled everything out. You know, we took all of the ceiling panels down, all of the old insulation, we cut the walls out, took the insulation out of there, stripped everything, and we were really working on it every other weekend. The way that library scheduling works, at least for the library that I was at, you have every other weekend off and you work through the alternate weekends. So 2 weekends a month, we really had to work on it where it was both of us there together. And Mike would come out sometimes during the week or on the weekends that I was working to do it, but at the same time, he's writing and teaching and doing everything that he's got to do as well. So it was really slow going for the first couple of months. And then in May, we found out that we'd have to be back in Texas for the start of the fall semester for Mike's funding and all of the stuff with his PhD. And that drastically increased, or I guess drastically decreased, the amount of time that we had to spend on the bus. We had really been spending, or planning on spending, about a year on the conversion. That way, you know, one, it wouldn't be so rushed, and two, we could do stuff as funds became available, because we're broke. We're still broke. We were broke when we did it. Just broke all the way around. So we were planning on about a year to do the conversion as funds became available. But when we got the news in May that we would need to move, that meant we had really about 3 months to get everything done. And we were so far behind for that. It was like a mad dash to the finish. So our lease ended at our apartment in June, and we moved into my mom's house for the next couple of months, which is where the bus was. And that ended up being great because we were right with the bus. And so Mike worked on the bus all day, every day, for the entire duration of the summer. I worked on it every day that I was off, and sometimes when I got off of work, I'd, you know, help out in the evening. But being a children's librarian is sort of mentally exhausting because you're really performing the entire time that you're doing programming and stuff like that for kids, trying to keep them interested in the literature that you're talking about and stuff like that. And so it is sort of an exhausting job, at least for me. Some people are like really pumped up about it, and that's great, but I found it really tiring. So I was there every other weekend and on my days off, and Mike was there all day. And so we were, I mean, it was just all bus every day, all day. It was just so much busing. So let's see, I think it ended up really sort of being a literal mad dash to the finish. We moved in mid-August, and I think we were still putting stuff in the day that we left. We left in the afternoon, and we were still building and putting in like a table and a desk that morning. So it was a situation. And as a result, we did run out of time for some of the stuff. So like our trim isn't done. We don't have baseboards. Some painting hasn't been done. There are a lot of small finishing projects that we just didn't get around to. The big stuff is done. It is totally livable. But some of the small things that make it look like nice and finished and pretty and all of that are not done yet. So that's something that we're still working on. So all in all, to get it livable, we spent $8,000 total, including the bus, and it took us about 5.5 months. And so we're still slowly working on it, but now it's at a far more leisurely pace as our even tighter funds become available. And now there's sort of more weekend projects, which is good. That's nice. And so yeah, we still got some work to do, but the bulk of it is done now. So I hope that was super interesting. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. You can check out our website, asphaltnomads.com, for more information on our build and what it's like to live full-time in a Skoolie. And like and subscribe for more videos, and we'll see y'all later. Bye!